I have a tablespoon of pellets here in a small container. I have Canaplex and Focus. I think it might be better to add the Focus first because it's kind of the glue that holds the medication to the food, and it just helps it stay all together. I crush up one scoop, make sure there's no clumps in it so it mixes up well, and then I dump that in. I mix it up well with just the Focus in it first because, like I said, it's kind of the glue, so I want it to coat all of the food before I add in the medication. Then I take the Canaplex, carefully measure out one scoop of that, and I do the same. I crush any clumps that might be there. I don't think Canaplex tends to have clumps, but I just do it with all medications. And then I add those in and I mix it up really well. It's okay if you don't mix in like the Focus and then the Canaplex individually. But like I basically said, I just think it'll stick more evenly to the medication that way. If you are using garlic guard, mix it well before you use it. And I'm using a half tablespoon here. That's a lot of liquid. I want to soak my food more for the fish that's floaty. I'm adding half of garlic guard, and then I'm very carefully turning on the sink a little bit and filling it the rest of the way. Then I just dump that in, and then I prefer to use a butter knife to mix it in really well. I just think that works the best out of everything I've tried. I usually grab a paper plate, but you can also use a sheet of tin foil or mostly anything that's not going to absorb the medication. Not all paper plates are good for this. Some are a lot more absorbent than others. This one is not. You want to spread the pellets as evenly as you can across the surface because you want them to dry out. And you want to leave them to sit there for at least half an hour because that gives the meds more time to soak in and makes sure that everything dries out very well. If the pellets aren't dry in half an hour, then you can wait a bit longer, see when they are dry, and once they are dry, break up the pellets, which will make it easier to feed to your fish, especially if you're feeding multiple and don't want one fish getting a huge bite while the other's only getting a few pellets. You can just use a butter knife and roll it around on your flat surface. But what I like to do personally is just use some disposable gloves and break them up with my fingers. I just find it easier. And I have a lot of tanks, and I like to be probably overcautious with avoiding cross contamination because washing your hands is not always perfect. So I just like to avoid touching with my bare hands as much as I can. Make sure that you store these in your fridge when you're not using them and feed about an eyeball size per fish twice a day. Good luck. I hope that your fish recover well.